Welcome everybody to this training, and let's get diving right on into it here, and let's start crafting your six-figure plan. And why might you want to consider doing this? Well, I'll tell you what it's done for me. For me, with these methods, I've generated $60 million plus in closed sales. With direct mail, more than 50 closed sales, upwards of 15 million in volume. With the itch cycle, more than 75 closed sales, totaling nearly 20 million in volume. And then the sandwich generation, one of my favorites, more than 100 closed sales and counting, totaling nearly 27 million in volume. So before we get into that, step one is you must first know your numbers. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, let's start looking at some of our numbers. Over the last year, how many closed transactions have you had? Over that same last year, what has your total gross commission income been? That is your total GCI before your split. Okay? And then what's your average brokerage fee after your split? And if you're not on a split and you have a desk fee, then figure that into the equation somehow. But let's say you're on a 70-30, then figure it that way as well. My target GCI is, okay, what is it that you'd like to be earning and you feel you should be earning? And that'll show you what the gap is between what you're earning now and what it is you feel you should be earning, what your target is. Okay, number of closed transactions that you need to hit your target gross commission income. So take your average gross commission brokerage fee after your split, then multiply that by the number of transactions you're going to need, or divide that into the total gross commission income, and that'll give you the number of transactions that you'll need to close to hit your target GCI. Okay? Now, as we get through to this next slide, you also need to know the number of leads needed to close one transaction. So how many folks do you, like, for example, how many listing appointments do you need to go on before you get a listing? Do you get 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5? What is your ratio? We're going to teach you how to get it better, by the way. Then you're going to know that. So how many of those appointments or leads do you need to go on a month to close that many sales, however many you need? Just a few of the numbers you're going to need to have a firm grip on. But let's go ahead and move on. We can dive deeper into this at another time, but let's move on. Here's 3 lucrative niches that you should get involved in right away and can. Absentee owners, the itch cycle, and the sandwich generation. Absentee owners. Okay, what I want you to do is choose a specific location, either by zip code or neighborhood. Okay, choose that. I want you to go to your favorite title company and get the targeted list. Okay, what you want to target are homes that are non-owner occupied and that are owned free and clear. If you can, that's even better. But if there's not enough of those, you're going to want all non-owner occupieds. This will give you the investors, okay? And you're going to start by sending these investors a well-crafted direct response mailer. I'll show you that in just a second, or at least an example of one. You're going to follow that up with a phone call, text, or a personal visit to those, owners that are interested in talking further. Here's the letter. Dear so-and-so, my name is representing. I'm writing you today because I'm curious if you've considered selling and or completing a 1031 tax-deferred exchange into a higher income producing property, or is it time to start divesting your real estate assets in a way that funds long-term retirement income? And it goes on. The market, as you may or may not know, yada yada. That's where I come in. I specialize in, and respectfully yours. I've seen some great success with this exact letter. Change it up if you'd like, make it yourself, or just use it like it is. It works. It's a good letter. Okay? Now, let's talk about the itch cycle just a little bit. The itch cycle, in America, we have what I would call an itch cycle in the real estate, well, with any product really, but let's, in real estate, and people move on average I think, well, now I think it's actually 7 to 10 years. Used to be like 5 to 7, now it's about every 7 to 10 years. So knowing that, okay, again, pick a geographic area that you service, go to the title company again, target homeowners who've owned their home for 7 years or more, and send them a direct response mailer. You know, have you been considering making a move? Hey, guess what your neighbors just did? Anything that might be pertinent. And then you're going to continue to follow up with these people in a strategic way, consistent way, so that you can take some of them. Yeah, keep in mind, in a database of 100 people, there's 3 of those 100 right now that are absolutely considering a move. I mean, when I say that, I mean immediately considering a move. That's, 3 out of 100. So think about that when especially these people, I think the percentage might be higher. Of 100 people that have lived in their home for 7 years or more, I think you're going to find more than 3 of them out of 100 are considering a move if they haven't already put their home on the market. Okay, follow up with one informational mailing every 2 weeks for 3 months. In other words, you got to hit them at least 12 times in order to sort of break the ice, get them to like and trust you, but make sure you're sending them good stuff. If you send them crap, it's just crap, right? Personally visit and meet the owner when you can. Anybody that certainly has shown an interest, you're going to want to set up a time to meet with and see how and if you might be able to help them, right? What to mail. Here's some things that you can do with your mailings. A letter of introduction to if you're going to send a letter out to a geographic or demographic farm, you want to certainly start with a letter of introduction. You can also use market stats for a neighborhood as a mailer. Information about move up and move down homes. Reasons why now is the best time to consider making a move. It always is the best time, really, isn't it? But right now we're certainly in a unique market, unique window of opportunity for people. Let them know. Clever postcards that inform people of all kinds of things. Doesn't have to be just real estate. Can certainly be, and I encourage you to make some of your mailings about the neighborhood, the local area, the community, things that are happening, stuff like that. Seasonal theme postcards are great. And, then finally, especially if it's an area that you're going to be servicing, like a farm area, geographic, send them a letter. Let them know that you'll be in the area on a certain date and time to meet some of the homeowners personally and to thank them by giving them a gift. And the gift can be any sorts of things that, that you could hand out to people. Just use your imagination. The sandwich generation. Now, this is where you can double or even triple the opportunities that you get. It's amazing. Okay, so who are they? Well, those are the folks between the ages of 45 and 60. Why? Because some have children that are getting to the buying age, and they also might have parents that need to downsize. Might have parents that need to downsize. Okay, and this is a great potential to create lasting relationships with people who will need you for many real estate opportunities that are coming up. Like if you help the kids with their first home, guess what? So averages hold true. 7 to 10 years, they're going to move again. They're also going to have friends that are considering moving once as they're doing that. The parents of the sandwich generation, they're going to be considering moving to possibly a smaller home, a vacation home, or maybe a retirement community. Who knows? So there's many opportunities there to create lots of transactions. Okay, now for this group and a mailing series specifically for this group, you need to be creative and describe to them in one of your mailings what the idea of the sandwich generation is and how does it pertain to real estate. This will get them thinking about maybe their own situation, right? If you describe it properly and they fit within that description, they'll put some thought to it, I think. Yeah. Offer solutions and value in every correspondence. Offer to consult with them and do some preliminary planning for those that show an interest. Once again, Give them the opportunity to talk about it with you. No charge, no obligation, just talk to them, give them value. Um, the old saying, given you shall receive, the old law of reciprocity, it holds so true. Um, and I like to call it giving them results in advance. The more of that you can do, the better. Okay, now, oh, sorry, we're going right back through that again. But now let's go to the 7 nasty words. Now there are more, but let's go to the 7, because I said I'd give you 7, that I just want you to quit using and replace. Okay, you need to upgrade your vocabulary to uplift your sales. Okay, never say buy, instead say own or get happily involved in. Would you like to buy this? Nobody wants to buy anything, but everybody loves to own. So instead say, can you see yourself owning, or would you like to get happily involved in this, or something along those lines. Never say sign here. Instead, with your okay, approval, endorsement, or authorization. I just need your approval on the paperwork to get you happily involved in this new home. So never say contract. Instead, use paperwork or agreement. Never cost or price. It's total investment. Never monthly payment. Nobody likes payments. Instead, it's a monthly investment. And really, with real estate, it is an investment. Wouldn't you agree? Never down payment, instead initial investment, and never sold. Instead, don't say, hey, I sold that home. Just say, instead, I was able to help these people get happily moved. Again, never buy. Instead, own or get happily involved in. Never sign here. Instead, with your okay, approval, endorsement, or authorization. Never contract, paperwork, or agreement. Never cost, instead total investment. Never monthly payment, monthly investment. Down payment, no. Initial investment, yes. Never sold, instead got happily moved. Now, here's 3 strategies you can immediately deploy. I told you I was going to talk fast, but that's the way it goes, sorry. Take notes, re-listen, slow it down, anything you can do, but just remember these things. 1, direct mail. You can laser target your direct mail. Nobody does it anymore. Anyone that does do it, you'll get some that in your mail, right? That's really good. Study it. Check it out, the good ones. The rest of them you throw in the trash. Look at those too for a second and decide why you're throwing them in the trash. So don't do that with your direct mail. Do the ones that you actually look at that are interesting. Try to copy those and model those kinds of direct mail, and you'll have some success. And I can help you with this if you so decide you'd like some help. Professional open house events. These are awesome, and they need certainly some planning. But if you're going to do an open anyway, you might as well do it right. Social media engagement. This is the new thing, right? And it's kind of like the new way of farming if you do it correctly. And you can get a lot more done a lot quicker than you can going door to door. May not be quite as effective as face-to-face, but you can be pretty darned effective with social media. Okay, so for direct mail, again, use it for your niches, farming, sphere of influence, local business owners, etc. It's got to be relevant, got to be of value, and it absolutely triple has to have a magnetic direct response element built into it. Otherwise, you're wasting postage and paper and time. The professional open house event. Okay, first of all, you got to plan this 7 to 10 days in advance and do something every single one of those 7 to 10 days to promote that open, including but not limited to installing a sign in front of the home itself that says gives the day and the hours open, as well as on directionals. Have some made up that give that time and day that it's going to be open, and go place those a few days in advance of when it's going to be open. Get more people there. Invite everyone in your database. Yes, everyone in your database. Who knows who might know someone, or who themselves might be thinking of making a move too. So invite them. And remind them as well. So you're going to invite them, and later on you're going to remind them as you get closer to the open. Door knock 20 to 30 closest neighbors and use invite script. Now look, I know a lot of you aren't going to do this. It's knocking on doors. It's scary, but it's really fun. So give it a shot. You'd be surprised not only at the warm response you're going to get from a lot of people, but also how those warm responses can turn into more transactions for you. Okay, post as an event on social media. If you can certainly do that through all kinds of platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all kinds of different ways you can post your open house event. And then there's some advanced techniques that we teach in the inner circles of the sales syndicate in terms of using targeted advertising on Facebook and other social platforms, and also what types of ninja posts can you use and where to get the most bang. And those are free. So let's get social. Here's a quick Facebook strategy you can deploy right away. And this is free. Join some targeted groups, research it first, and find ones that you would be interested in, places where you can contribute. I would suggest that it wouldn't be real estate oriented, that it would be more about something that you're interested in, whether it's a hobby or, um, a topic, uh, or, current events, whatever it is. There's groups for everything at Facebook. Find one. Get involved, make some comments, ask to join, and get to know people in there. Now, the other thing you can do is to also just work your SOI that's already in Facebook, your so-called friends. Send them interesting stuff in a ninja sort of way, but get into conversations. Try to get 3, 4, 5 a day that you actually engage in a bit of a conversation with. Look for things that they've posted. Interesting stuff or stuff that sparks your interest. Make a comment. Don't talk about business. Talk about them. They're not interested in business. They're interested in themselves, right? Aren't we all? You can suggest articles. You can do all kinds of things that will help you get engaged with your social self on Facebook or other platforms. You can, again, paid advertising can be done, and it's really great when it's targeted and done properly. But boy, it can be disappointing and expensive otherwise. So you got to know what you're doing. Here's the coming shift, and of course the great one, Wayne Gretzky, said something along the lines of skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is now. And that makes sense, right? I mean, he was the first one there before the puck got there, and so therefore he was able to score and make more plays than anyone else in the history of hockey, as far as I can tell. And so I think maybe if that were to be modeled in the business world, that'd be a good thing, wouldn't it? So there's economic signs and then history we can look at to help us with this. We know that the rates are going to be going up, right? I mean, every economic indicator points to that, and we're going to start seeing that here before the end of this year, and probably throughout next year. They'll be edging up, although I don't think real high, because it is an election year next year, so usually that doesn't get really bad. Prices then are going to flatten a bit, or maybe worse if you listen to some real naysayers out there, and there are some out there that really are gloom and doom, and they're saying basically that not only is real estate going to go in the tank, but so is the stock market. They're talking in terms of the market getting down to 6,000. It's at 18,000 roughly now. That would be 2/3 of the market being lopped off with real estate following commensurately. And they have all kinds of, what do you call them, conspiracy theories as to why this might happen. But yeah, even if part of it's true, I mean, you got to be, I think it's worth looking at a little bit just to see what you think. I would. Election year, as I mentioned, usually that means good things in terms of things aren't going to be too volatile. But boy, wait till after the election, then you're going to start seeing some movement. Bond market, stock market, all kinds of stuff. Okay, and then of course there's the what do you call it? The wild card, and that's world unrest and conflicts, which are happening seemingly on a daily basis and escalating from there. And depending on the unrest and or the conflict or conflicts, it can be an absolutely market changer. It can take a market and accelerate it, or stop it like on its nose, like it hit a wall and then crumble. I mean, anything can happen. So there's all kinds of that to be cognizant of, if nothing less, and position yourself with all these different uh, things we can study so that you're going where the puck is headed and not where the puck is right now. Don't get caught with your pants down, in other words. Up in flames. Okay, so if you want to dig deeper, you'd say, well, do this. Swallow the red pill or the blue pill. I'm not sure which, but either way, call me on my personal hotline, 503-913-8218, and we'll take a closer look at your business. I've set aside some time to personally help 7 additional sales professionals with their business for free. And the reason I say 7, it's not some sort of false scarcity thing, but there's only one of me, and I'm the one that personally talks with you on the phone. And these calls can take an hour or more sometimes, and because they're really constructful, and constructual, and I think they'll do you some good. I think you'll love it. I know I've always enjoyed them. And who knows, if we like it and we find that we are a good fit, we may decide to work together on long term. But that'll be up to you. There won't be any selling. And listen, if you want to be one of the 7, do call now. This has gone out to several thousand people, and I'm sure that those 7 slots will fill out fairly quickly. So call me, 503-913-8218. You can also text me at that same number. If you're really shy or can't call or text at the moment, do email me, although that certainly will get to me a little bit slower. So anyway, hey, thanks for your time today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and better yet, hope you got something out of it that you can use to deploy in your business to grow it here in the coming 12 months. Until we meet again, happy selling.